Yeah, that was just your average crossing coming in. I think it was just before dark, and it was top of the tide. It was a little bit gnarly on the bar itself, but no great drama. And I had my crew out the back, by the back door, and his job was to let me know if there's any extra big ones coming down behind us, and just tell me. And we were right in amongst it. I was quite busy on the wheel, working it both backwards and forwards, staying on line, and all of a sudden the wheel tightened up, and I couldn't steer to port. It just wouldn't go, and I looked around, and my crew, who was out the back, had caught his t-shirt and the steering wheel out the back, and it had wound up round it, and he couldn't get it off, couldn't do a thing. And I was torn between ripping it off or cutting it off with a filleting knife that's out there, or leaving him be to sort it out himself. But I wound the wheel the other way, I think, and in amongst this he got his t-shirt free, but we did a complete loop right in the middle of the bar and then carried on. And another instance where there was no great drama, but it could have been.
With the forecast for the coast not looking good, experienced skippers from the inshore fleet start heading home. But as we've said more than once, the record shows that many incidents happen to experienced skippers.
There's been some very experienced skippers lost their lives on the bar.
Now, I think that the point really needs to be made that the people that are dying on the bars aren't necessarily the cowboys. That the last few accidents that I can think of, only one's been an inexperienced skipper, and the rest have been people that have been in the industry for a very long time, and that you'd have put money on would never happen to them.
Age and experience doesn't mean anything. The biggest trouble on a bar is if you've done it too many times, you start to get blasé. That's what catches you, and I reckon that's what caught me on the bar. Done it that often, just trundled in, too blasé, bang. But I was lucky I got out of it.
I think that maybe they tend to, they've got away with it this time. Oh yeah, we got away with it that time. So maybe the goal of what's unacceptable and acceptable gets varied. The more we get away with, the further away the goal becomes when it's not acceptable. Like they all say when the boat tips over, I wouldn't have come in and that. Well, I don't know about that. I've seen people do some crazy things and get away with it. And if you get away with it once, you think you can do it twice.
I think there's a fairly common thing goes through your head. You think, oh shit, we've been in worse than that. So you just start bumming your way in, and once you get halfway through, you think, shit, it wasn't as bad as this, but you can't change your mind then, you're committed.
Well, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. It is that, because they've done it once or done it twice, they keep thinking, we got away with it that time, so that becomes further and further away the point that's going to be the last one they make. But we have a folder that we've put together that we go through safety issues with that, and we're constantly discussing things as things come up, what's better ways of doing things and what isn't.
Major Peruski and Linda does all the safety work and hammers us wearing life jackets and everything, or our safety vests.
I don't see that there's any reason alive why fishermen should not be wearing one. And I have been known to point this out on several occasions.
Above all else, making the right decisions about crossing the bar and taking the right actions involves facing several important truths. The reality that crossing any bar has its dangers. The record that experienced skippers still have accidents, all too many of which could have been avoided. The certainty that if you as a skipper get anything wrong, you risk a lot of grief for a lot of people. And the fact that even if you as a skipper get everything right, the sea is still amazingly powerful, and sometimes totally unpredictable.
If you have somebody that's going out over the bar, then that's something that's just a reality that you look at every day. But then it's the same as while there's boats and bars, there'll be accidents, and while there's cars and roads, there'll be accidents as well. And it's not something that you can actually stop. It's just something that will happen. And yeah, it's about minimising it, really. I don't want my family dying on the bar any more than I want them dying in a car.
You know, you've got crew on board, it's a lot's riding on you not getting it wrong, and you're a long time dead if you do. And I think that, just got to be ensure that you take all the precautions you can every time.
The overall aim of the bar crossing is to keep yourself alive, and if you think it's marginal, and even if you're not sure, just don't try it.
I'm sure your missus would rather get you there and wait another 6 or 8 hours for you to come home than bloody not come home.
The old rule, in doubt stay out, if in doubt stay out. Yeah, it's definitely.
The old bar will slowly knock into submission. They'll end up with a lot of respect for the bar.
You just can't take them for granted. There's all sorts of different factors, and every time you go through you have to just be so careful. If you make a mistake, it can be your last one.
You've got to respect those bars, even in flat calm conditions.
Some days you'll head in towards the bar thinking it's not too bad, and you might get one out of the blue that might just stand up and you'll wear it.
I always approach a bar with anticipation, if you understand. Not nervousness, anticipation. What am I going to do when I get there? What am I going to find when I get there?
The more I cross it, the more I'm determined not to have dangerous crossings. So I tend to be more and more careful.
Took more time you spend getting ready to do it. Like 9 out of 10 times you'll never ever have to do it. But
I think a lot of the guys too, they do all the safety things when they're coming on in really marginal conditions, but in the conditions between reasonable and marginal, they don't. It's kind of like they need to be in the habit of doing all the safety precautions all of the time, not just when they think that it's going to be a problem. I'd like my family to come home at night.
I did used to go, and a lot, but I found myself in the car hiding more often than not, and now it's easier to just stay away. I don't know that I really want to see someone that I know die in front of me.
Once you did, you did. I mean, you're not going to be enjoying the fruits of life, you know, going to the pub with your mates and meeting different women in your life. That's all the good parts, you know. So, yeah, why hurry?